Hey guys, we back in my little shop this morning at the house. It's a Saturday morning. Y'all might have a little bit of background noise, but I got my new microphone on, so maybe my sound will stay fairly consistent. But you're gonna hear a little background noise because I got two air conditioners blowing in this shop. So I'm not turning my air conditioners off. It's about 85 or 90 degrees outside, and it's nice in here. So I know y'all might give me a hard time. There's one. There's the other one. I got two of them running, and it makes it pretty good in here, especially when it's hot outside. But I got this little troy-bilt push mower customer brought in. Got a Honda motor on it. Pull cord's messed up, won't retract. I'm not sure if it's even engaging. I don't think it is. I'm going to take this apart first, check it out good, see what I can do to make that get right, and then probably check on the carburetor about like normal. And she basically just told me it wasn't running, so that's all I got to go on. Bringing y'all along was what I fooled with. So if you ain't never been here before, there's more going on than just this lawnmower stuff. So if you're seeing this for the first time, go back and check out some of my older videos. There's drag racing on this channel. Just now introducing some CDL school and trucking type stuff to this channel, and a little bit of woodworking. I got a shop here at home I work out of, and I'm a welder fabricator by trade. So I go to another shop that I work at all the time, and I get videos from there also. So check out some of my shorts, check out some of my normal videos, and you can kind of see where this channel has come from. But and I do want to put out some content that'll either make you smile or either give you something, some help working on something. So I'm just going to be moving around here, get to working on this mower, and hopefully my microphone hangs in there and y'all can hear me pretty well. I'll go back and listen to all this whenever I get done, and hopefully it's all good. So I'm going to get started. I don't know how much talking I'll do through all of it, but we're going to work on this recoil starter first. Take it off and see what's going on with it. Now this stud right here is turning in the frame, so I don't know can't get to it all that well. It's got a nut on a bolt. But I can't feel where the back side is. If it's turning on the back side, that's that easy. That's a really poor design. I would have thought better out of a Honda. I've never worked on a Honda engine before, but all I've ever heard is good good things about it. Let me see if I can grab it. Just in case this works, let me show you what I'm going to try. I'm going to get you moved down here where you can see. Because it might not work. If it don't, we'll move on to something else. Alright, let me show you what's happening. This is just a nut on the end of a stud, like a bolt is coming through from the bottom, and that nut should just turn and the head of the bolt should be stationary. But what's happening here is when I turn the nut, the stud is also turning, so it won't turn it loose. It should be like that one right there. That didn't turn, and when I turn the nut, it just come off. As you can see, it's loose now. But this one, try to get it where you can see it. When I put that wrench on it, the whole thing is turning, and there's no access. There's no access under the bottom, I don't think, right now that I can get to. So what I'll do, see if I can pinch it. That's pretty good bite. All right, so I'm gonna put my that open end wrench is okay. See how thick that wrench is? I'm gonna find one that's thin or thinner. And my little crescent wrench I carry in my pocket, it might do it. Okay, I'm gonna see if this works. Look, I tote this in my pocket. Y'all might be interested in this. This ain't much bigger than a pocket knife. It's a little 4-inch crescent wrench, and it's thin. I'm gonna compare it to a regular wrench. Come on, get in there. All right, so this crescent wrench may be thin enough to let me grip the top of this stud, and it may mess the threads up a little bit, but right now I don't have a choice. So I'm going to put my crescent wrench on the nut. I got the crescent wrench on the nut. I'm going to reach in there and try to hold that stud with my pliers without letting it slip. Like that. It's going to be hard to hold that, y'all. And right now I'm really messing the threads up, but alright, I'm going to try something else. That didn't work, but that's part of the game. You just keep trying stuff till you get it figured out, or you have to tear it up to get it off. This might not do it either, but we're going to try it. This is just part of mechanicking, fooling with stuff. We're going to hit it full force and see what happens. Still got the wrong socket. Hold on. We're going to see what happens here. Maybe it'll turn loose. It is just not wanting to move, y'all. Okay, that's weird. They have got, here, I'm gonna let y'all look at this. Craziest design I believe I may have ever seen. Alright, let me get you out of this thing here for a minute. Okay. Let me turn you around where I can do this. Alright, now. There's your coil. See that bolt missing? It's supposed to be one here, one over there. That's what I just turned with my impact wrench. Look. It's actually a stud that holds down the plastic cover. So the stud, if it don't move and you unhook or you unscrew it, it comes out of the coil. Never seen anything like that before. So there's the other hex right there. We'll have to hold it to get the other side to turn. So, but since it's like that, I'm just going to prop it up for a minute. Get you. But anyway, this is just stuff you deal with. This is what you got to figure out sometimes. So now there's this up inside here. I'll see if I can hold it. Having trouble holding that, so I'm going to clamp a pair of vice grips on this little knot right here and see if that'll work. And if you're doing this kind of work, these are the times you just figure out how to make it work. Don't give up on it. It ain't that you're doing anything wrong. Some things are just difficult like this. Don't let it beat you. Because it ain't going to beat me. If I have to take a grinder and cut the head of it off, I'll come up with something else. If I have to. Because it's definitely tight. For whatever reason. Alright, it just broke loose. So now I'm just going to screw it off like you ought to a while ago, but you can't help this kind of stuff. It's just part of it. You get to fooling with mechanicking on something, if there's 5 bolts on it, 4 of them will come off in 2 minutes. And the other one, it'll take you half a day to get it off. So, don't give up on it. Alright, so now that that's off, I'll have to go back and eventually, maybe y'all can see it, I'll have to go back and set the distance on this coil just in case that thing moved when that come out right there. In case it moved, I'll go back and reset it, and I may have to look up what the proper distance is. It's going to be somewhere between probably 8 and 12 thousandths, but I'll look it up and make for sure before I set it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and put this stud back so I won't lose it, and I'm not going to tighten it up. But probably what I will do, when we put it back together, I won't put this nut on there nearly as tight as what they had it, and I might put a drop of Loctite down here on this bottom where it goes through the coil, and that way, well, no, I'm not either. Somebody might need to change that coil one day, and they'll be fighting trying to get that off if I do that, so that's probably not a good idea. We'll just snug it down good, and it'll be all right. I was going to say we'll put a drop of Loctite on it, that way this won't never happen, but you might have to get that coil off one day. So we won't go that route. I'll have to find that nut. It went down in there somewhere. So we'll check out this old recoil. I don't know if the spring is messed up or what. Might just need some WD-40 on it. We'll go ahead and squirt that down a little bit and see what happens. There's a coil spring inside of this. I'm going to put a couple little drops of WD-40 inside this and see if that loosens that thing up some. It may be rusty and full of a little bit of dirt and dust. So I'm just going to put some oil on it, work it a little bit. Now you can see it's already getting better. So after I work it like this a minute, I'll take my air line and maybe blow out anything that's in there and blow all that rust and stuff out, and then lube it up again and try it again. Right now, working it like this just loosens up all that crud. Seems to be coming back around pretty good. So this will at least work enough to help me work on the mower to get it cranked. At that point in time, if I decide that it needs a new one on it or a rebuild or whatever, new spring or whatever it takes, that's when we'll do that. So we won't even talk about getting a new one right now. As long as it's good enough, I can try to work on the motor to crank. That's what we want. Let me blow this out a little bit. Alright, that air compressor turned on. Y'all can hear me, maybe? Yeah, it's good. It's getting good now. Y'all see how that sucks back? You seen when we started, it just pulled out and locked up. So just a little bit of air, a little bit of WD-40 or some kind of lubricant. I'll blow off some of the excess just to keep it from slinging out, but it's still slinging out old rusty stuff. So the more it's used, the better off this one is going to be. But I think it'll be good enough for us to try it. And I almost wonder if that was the only problem. But while I'm right here, I'm at least going to clean the magnets on the motor. But right now, all that's looks like it's been dragging. Yeah, it's been touching. Let me loosen this up. It does have a brake on this flywheel. When you let that lever go, this little brake right here goes up against it. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's right here. When you squeeze the lever up there on the handlebar, this opens up and it lets the motor freewheel. So right now, you can see, get you back around on this side. Now, I hadn't messed with this part, but I want to show you why stuff like this starts mattering when you get it from a customer and they don't tell you exactly what's going on. Like, somebody may have loosened this up trying to get that cover off, and it let this coil move. The minute the coil moved, you can see the rusty spots. Y'all can't see it right there. Hold on. Turn you. All right. Them 3 rusty spots right there represent right there where my finger is, this side over there. Then there's one in the middle that actually, when the magnet's flying around, it picks up that signal right in the middle. So there's your 3 rusty streaks where the coil has been touching the flywheel. And this is where it's supposed to have probably 8 to 12 thousandths of clearance right there. But you can see right now I got it loose and the coil is rubbing. Let's see if I can get it off of it. Y'all can see what it's supposed to look like. See that right there? This thing is adjustable. It's got a magnet in it to make it suck back, or to make it read when the magnet is flying around. So all right, give me just a minute. I'm going to look up what the coil distance is, the spacing for the coil, and I'll bring you right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through setting the gap on the coil. Now, this is on a Honda 160cc lawnmower engine. I do have feeler gauges. Got all your different thicknesses. that you could possibly use when you're adjusting or setting something. All right. For this, I don't use these. They do make feeler gauges that are probably about 6 or 8 inches long that you could do what I'm fixing to do. But I want to show you another way. You need something flexible that'll wrap around all 3 points on that coil. You gotta get all 3 of them at the same time. So what I'm gonna do, we'll see what a regular old sheet of notebook paper is on the thickness. I got a set of mics here, 0 to 1 micrometers. You may not have these around your house, but that's okay. Because once I tell you that a sheet of notebook paper is 3 thousandths thick, and if you don't have mics and you probably don't know how to read them, see if you can see that number right there. It's 3 thousandths thick. Okay? So if we know that, and I looked up the numbers for this motor, it's supposed to be 16 thousandths plus or minus 8 thousandths. So we can be a little under 16, we can be a little over 16, but 16 is what it calls for. So what I'll do, we'll just fold this paper up. So that'll be 3 thousandths. If you double it, it'd be 6 thousandths. One more time would be 9 thousandths. Times 4 would be 12 thousandths. Times 5 would be 15 thousandths. So if we take a sheet of notebook paper and make 5 layers, that'll set the gap right where we need it on this coil. So, or we may do 6. Just to verify, we'll kind of see if what we got is pretty close. This should be around 15 thousandths now. So with it folded up, take my micrometers. Now this is not a C-clamp. You don't push down on this hard. Got a little clutch on the end of it. You can use that knob right there. All right. So I'm going to show you. I know it's upside down. I can get it to focus. Okay. That's about 14 thousandths. So that's plenty close enough. So what we'll do, take this sheet of notebook paper that's folded up now. This makes up our 15 thousandths number that we're looking for. So I'm going to hold that motor. We're going to roll the motor back around to where the magnet is. So right here is where the magnet is. So I'm going to roll that magnet in there to where it actually runs at. That's where it's at when it makes it fire. All right, I'm going to pull the coil out. Let me get you closer. Hold on. If you can't see this, and no, you won't understand. Let's see, right here is where I'm working. All right, maybe you can see that. All right, watch. So I'm going to push the coil out. Hold it like that. Slide my paper in that's been folded. Put it in between the magnet and the flywheel, or the magnets on the flywheel and the coil. We'll just say between the coil and the flywheel. And the reason you use this paper like this is flexible enough to wrap under all three at the same time. All right, and then let the coil go. Kind of push on it a little bit. So right now, that coil is setting at 15 thousandths, or 14 according to our mics. 14 or 15 thousandths from the flywheel to the coil. So right now, if I tighten these two studs back up and we slide this paper out, we're going to have a 14 thousandths gap in there behind that. And that's what we're looking for. So let me get my wrench. I'm going to snug this one down a little bit, enough to make it start or hold, and then I'm going to snug this one down. You don't have to over tighten these. They just go into an aluminum head, so when they get tight, that's good enough. All right, so now we're just going to wiggle the paper back out. And right now, we should have a 14 to 15 thousandths gap in between the flywheel and the coil on all 3 points of that coil. So right now what I'll do is find a little piece of sandpaper, sand this old rusty magnet, make it nice and clean. All right. So this is just an old sanding disc off of a sander. Any kind of sandpaper is fine. It's not real rough. You're just gonna get there on that magnet. Just rub it till that old rust comes off. I usually go ahead and clean up the outside of the wheel, the flywheel, just a little bit more. And you can tell where that old brake has been scrubbing on this one. But it just gets that last little bit of debris off of it. All right. Blow that off a little bit. Now here's where I'm probably going to just set all this back down on there. Just like that. set this on there, like so. Hi guys, I'm back. The lawnmower right now is like it was sitting a while ago, except I did roll it outside the door of the shop here. I put just a touch of gas in the carburetor, pulled the starter rope, and it busted off. I couldn't get it to run on its own, but it would run with just a little bit of gas in the throat of the carburetor. So I feel pretty confident everything else is fine. What we're going to do now is pull the air box and all the stuff off around the carburetor, get down to where the carburetor is, and we'll pull it off. And I'm assuming we're going to take the bottom off of it, and it's going to have trash or rust or bad gas or something in it. So it'll probably mean a kit or a new carburetor at that point in time. Just depends on how bad it is. But I told the customer I wouldn't go too far without them knowing for sure what I was doing. So I'm going to double check it, look at it, and then decide if I think, a carburetor will fix it. I'll look up what a carburetor or a kit will cost, contact the customer, and unless I can just clean it. If I can clean it and put it back together, we'll try it. But more than likely, I'm gonna get into it, and it's gonna be dirty or old or whatever, and the diaphragms and all that stuff is gonna be messed up, and or the gaskets, and probably can't get it put back together without it being like tearing a gasket or an O-ring or something. But we'll see here in just a minute. But that's kind of where we're at. So we know for sure right now that the motor will hit. So what I done on the last little bit you saw was we adjusted the coil, the spacing on the coil. So I took it outside just to double check that it will fire. So it will fire. It kicked over. It will run with just a little bit of gas squirted in the throat of the carburetor. Probably don't ever need to do that. I just do it a very small amount at a time, and then I move my gas can back out of the way just in case it backfires. But just know, if you're fooling with this gas around a carburetor, even a small engine, it can backfire at any time and set what fuel you've got in it on fire. So don't be playing around with the gas like that. If you're experienced, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then just don't do it. Get you another form of testing. Put you a probe on the spark plug or something. Ground. I think that's it. I do have a pair of pliers here. I love these. These are for pinching off fuel line, and it keeps you from having to take all the fuel lines loose to keep fuel from draining out of them. But I was just looking, this lawnmower somebody's already put, which is a great idea because I put them on a lot too. Get it around where you can see it. They've already put a on-off valve. Can't see it. Let me flip you around where you can see. They've already put this on right here. So I'll just use it, but what I would use these pliers for, I got 3 different sizes of these pliers. So I would come in here, and they're made that when they go all the way together, they don't cut the wire in two. These are just plastic, by the way, these pliers. So I'd slide them on the hose like that. Get back far enough you can see it. And you can see this thing right here is just a latch. So I would just pinch down on it and slide these up the hill like that. And it pinches the fuel line. And if you don't have an on-off valve, just keeps fuel from pouring out of the fuel tank. So once I get all this loose, I've already looked in the tank. Everything looked pretty clean, unless I get into this carburetor and can tell that, sorry for the wiggling, and can tell that the fuel is no good, then we might do something with the gas in the tank. But I did put just a little bit in it to see if it would pick it up, but it wouldn't pick it up. So I'm anticipating the carburetor being all gummed up. So we'll see. We'll see here in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and take this top cover back off, because it frees up a little bit of room around some of this stuff right here to help us see. So that's all that's about. Since we know these have already been loose, I'm just gonna zip them off with my impact. If you hadn't already pulled some of this stuff by hand, I wouldn't recommend an impact, just to keep from tearing something up. But we know we've already taken them off, so should be safe. So throw her back like that. Turn this valve off. And I'll tell you this too, this is just something good to help you remember. If you, when you're talking about a valve, like a little on-off valve on a fuel line, a lot of them don't have on-off wrote on it. You can't tell which way to put it. You imagine the knob, the knob is just about always going to be, when it crosses the fuel line, the gas flow is stopped. When the knob is with the fuel line, that lets the fuel run. So you can see this. Let me get you turned around again. Okay, so here's your fuel line. So right now, the knob on the valve is running across the fuel line. So that would mean the valve is turned off. So when you take the knob and turn it with the fuel line, running the same way as the fuel line, that means it's turned on. So that's just something to use. And that holds true for just about anything, even all the way up into the commercial industry, like in chemical plants, any kind of big plants where piping is. If you've got a valve with a handle on it, when the handle crosses the flow, it's off. When the handle is running with the flow, it's on. That'll just about always hold true. So just one more thing, if you didn't know that. All right. Now then, see if we can get these off. All right, so you got three bolts on this one, holding it on. This is my first time pulling off anything on a Honda motor like this. So the stuff I'm seeing, we're just dealing with it as we go. All right, so this plate here tried to fall when I pulled that bolt out, so you'll have to, you got to pay attention to this stuff, so when something falls off, you'll know how to put it back. That's got a spacer on the back side, goes right up to the face of the carburetor. So this is a heat shield. There's a little spacer leading into the head on the carburetor. So that's how it goes right there. So we'll wipe all that down good before we put it back. Got a little gasket on the back. The gasket still looks okay. So I'm gonna lay it to the side. This carburetor has got one little linkage going to it right here. You just have to look at how it's fastened. I'm gonna go ahead and undo this fuel line right here. Got a little clamp on it. Let me get that clamp off. I'm going way in more detail fooling with this little mower than I think I probably have on anything I've worked on as far as videoing. So I'm really trying to cover the stuff that you would need to know if you're doing exactly what I'm doing right now. So for some of you more experienced guys, if you're watching this, you already know this stuff. Some of you guys that are watching this video that's searched up YouTube because you don't know what to do to it, you're the ones I'm trying to help right now. So as you can see, it only had one hole where this linkage goes. So there's only one thing on this carburetor that we got to remember to hook back up as far as the linkage goes. This is your choke right here. Got a knob on it that went against. I'll have to find the knob. Yeah, here we go, right here. This lever right here hooks to this for the choke. That's what pulls the choke around. So you just kind of have to look at this stuff and make sure nothing gets out of whack and you know where all of it goes. So look at each piece as you pull it off. If you're not sure, take your camera and take a picture of it right before you remove it, or hold it in your hand to where you can tell which way everything is running. Snap a picture of it, and that way when you come back to it, you can still get it together. So this carburetor is filthy on the outside, but that don't really matter about the running of it, other than just it's just nasty. So the gaskets still seem to be holding on somewhat okay. So I'm gonna remove this is a drain. Make sure I got you in there. All right, this is the bowl of the carburetor. This is where it holds all the fuel. This is a drain plug. This is the bolt that holds it to the carburetor. So I'm gonna remove this drain plug and see if old nasty gas comes out of it. Let me get a bowl to drop it into. Everything on this lawnmower is super tight for some reason. All right, look. It looked like milk come out of that for some reason. I've never seen fuel be that white, so I don't know what that was. I don't know if you can see that or not. It don't even smell like fuel. I don't know what that is. So I'm not anticipating this to look good, but we're going to take this bottom off and see what happens. Maybe water. Gas tank might have got full of water sitting outside. A little gentle tap on the bowl will usually turn it loose. Okay, so this is a mess. Can you see all that crud right there? I'm not positive what that even is, because it don't smell like old gas. I don't know what's going on with it, but it is a corroded up mess. So what I'll do, I'll get the numbers off of this carburetor and I'll price out what a new one costs, and then I'll compare it to what it would take me to try to clean this up. So the time that it's going to take me to clean it up, that money might could just be applied to a new carburetor, because this is going to take, I'm pretty sure the jet down there is all corroded up and messed up. The main jet is down in this hole. You have to get it out, clean all behind it, take the float off, and it feels like the pin's locked in it right now. Can't even move it. Normally that pin slides. It moved a little bit then, but I'm sure the float is all messed up. I mean, the needle and seat is messed up. So I'm not going to say this carburetor is not going to be good to use, but for the time that it may take to clean it, if I can buy a brand new one, we might just put a brand new one on it. But I'll call the customer and double check with them on as far as the money they want to spend. So anyway, we've made it down to what we think the problem is. So now we'll just either get a kit or we'll get a brand new carburetor, and I'll do a little cleanup on all this, have everything good to go. And when you see me come back to this lawnmower again, there'll be several days or maybe a week past, and I'll either have a new part or new carburetor to put together, and then we'll bolt everything back up and see if she's gonna run. So let's see here. Let me wipe my hand though. Yeah, that carburetor, I've never seen milk come out of a carburetor before, so I don't know what the deal was with that. I'm gonna wipe it off my hands anyway, because I don't know what it is. It don't really smell like gas. I almost wonder if it's water. Water mixed in with the gas sometimes gets milky looking, but I've never seen none that milky looking. Not like straight white anyway. But I'm gonna squirt a little of this WD-40 on my hands. It always seems to help clean stuff. It kind of keeps from causing a problem with skin irritation or something if something was bad. Because I don't know if that was something bad in there or not. You always have to be careful with this stuff, because you don't ever know what you're getting into. So be cautious with any liquids that you see come out of something that you ain't sure what it is. Just try not to get it all over you. And anyway, All right, so this is just going to be a good quitting place for this. And when I get a new carburetor or either a new kit, I'll bring you back, and we'll see if we can get everything put back together, and maybe this old troy-bilt with a little Honda 160 on it will take off and run again. I feel like it will, and I think they'll have a good machine whenever I get there. But hey guys, I'm back out here in the shop. It's about a week later from the last part you just saw, where we was taking the carburetor and stuff off of the little Honda push mower, this one. So I've got all new parts, new filters, basically just a tune-up. I went ahead and bolted this up because I was having trouble with it, and I'm going to show you and tell you why I was having trouble. And these on the carburetor, they've got two bolts about 2.5 to 3 inches long that go all the way through and bolt the carburetor to the intake. Well, what that does is, normally on some stuff that's got a lot of components, these two bolts will actually be studs with no heads on them, and they'll be screwed into the intake, and that way you can put your this one's got a little spacer and like a heat deflector, and then a gasket, and then the carburetor, and the carburetor gets a fuel line and a like a PVC crankcase vent hose, and then another gasket, and then this black piece that bolts it all together. But the way they've got it right now, you have to try to stack all that up and hold it in your hand and push it up to the lawnmower and hook up your throttle cable, hook up your fuel lines, and everything else that goes to it. And it just makes it awful to try to get to. So if I ever do another Honda, and I don't know if all Hondas are made like this or not, but just to make things simple, when I take these out, take these bolts out, I'll have me a piece of all thread rod or a little stud, and I'll screw that thing into the intake and then stack all this up and put a nut on it. Makes way more sense than what they got going on right here. So there's several things on this Honda motor that I'm just not impressed. And it's little stuff. I don't know nothing about the running of it, but just the handling of it and the working on it, little bitty simple things would make it so much easier to fool with. But anyway, I don't know. I can just see things that's a whole lot better than what they've done right here, and it makes it fairly difficult to try to stack all this stuff back up and get it put back together. Whenever it could be very simple to just slide it all on some all thread studs, and then put a nut on the last part you would put on would just be a washer and 2 nuts. So I don't know why they got it like that, but anyway, I'm in the process of putting everything back together. So I'm going to set you up here, and right now that's all I'm doing is just trying to hook everything back together. We've added a fuel filter. It didn't have a fuel filter on it, so I put a fuel filter. We're going to still use the on-off valve for the gas. I drained the gas out of it. It did have bad gas in it. Awful, had a lot of water in it. So I don't know if it was just condensation from setting up for a while, because the gases that you buy now at the pump, if you don't buy the non-ethanol, that gas has got enough alcohol in it that it absorbs a lot of water. So anytime you got a piece of equipment setting up for quite a while, goes through the heat and the coolness of the day, that gas tank will sweat, and it absorbs a lot of water into the system, and it'll make it look like you've got a leaky cap or something, and there won't necessarily be anything wrong with your gas tank. That alcohol in that fuel is just taking on a lot of water. So I put a fuel filter on it, and we're gonna get all this hooked back up and put a new blade on. I got a new blade for it, and put all the filters and stuff back together, and we should be able to crank it here in a little while, and that'll end this little video. But anyway, we're in the process of just bolting it back together, hooking everything back up, and then I got to figure out this recoil starter. When I ordered it didn't come. This is just an Amazon recoil starter, and I ordered it for the number that this thing is, but when it got here, the mountain bolts are not where they'll match up. So I'll probably just take the gut. It's got brand new parts on it. I think I can just take this out and put it in the stock housing, and we'll bolt it down and give it a try. If that don't work, then I'll come up with something else. But right now, that's what our plan is. But anyway, just gonna put it back together and hopefully it won't take too long. And we'll see if it'll run here in a little while. Good evening, guys. It's Monday evening. My part come in yesterday. It was the recoil starter on this troy-bilt push mower with a Honda engine on it. The recoil starter was tore up, and I found another one on Amazon. I ain't even unwrapped it yet. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. They've already sent me one, and it was probably as much my fault as it was anything. Let me get you set up here. In the part number, on Amazon, they had a V and a H on the end of the part number, and I really didn't pay that much attention to it. And the best I can tell is for a horizontal shaft and a vertical shaft. So when I got the right one ordered, I'm pretty sure this is what it's going to take to fix it right here. If we get this done and everything works, we'll put the new lawnmower blade on it. Should be able to finish this one up. I am going to have to drill these holes out just a little bit. Maybe you can see the difference. It ain't much. So if you're doing this on your own and you're trying it, I'll show you what this is for. Those bolts have those little spacers to let that plastic go down around it, and what this one is doing, it wants to set on top instead of go down over the spacer. So I'll get a drill bit, open these up just a little bit, and I'll bring you right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Got the holes drilled out, so it should set right down on it this time. All right, we're gonna see what we can do to get this blade off. It don't look like it's been moved in a while. Go ahead and put a little WD-40 on it. Ain't never hurt nothing. Make sure your mounting surface is pretty clean, just to keep your blade from going on crooked. I got a little wire brush. I just usually wire brush them. Just as long as it's free of debris, should be good. I usually spin it by hand a couple times, make sure it ain't gonna hit anything. All right, so we got the fuel line, the new fuel line put on. New air filter is in. New recoil starter. I'm gonna put some gas in it and we'll roll it outside the door and see if she'll crank and run. It'll take you just a minute to get that fuel to the carburetor. This carburetor don't have a primer bulb on it, so we'll just be using the choke to start it. I've already checked the oil, but I'm going to check it again just to make sure. Oil level's good, actually pretty clean. All right, so we're gonna back it out the door here and see what happens. I don't usually bring y'all along for this part, but I'm feeling pretty lucky today, so we'll try it. All right, guys, they don't get no better than that. First pull. That's the way it's supposed to work. Oh, so I've already contacted the customer. Told her I had a little bit of trouble getting this top plate or this recoil starter here. She was perfectly fine with it. So that's just the way I try to run my little business. I try to let the customers know up front and during the work where I'm at so that they're not surprised. I don't want them having to call, you know, a couple of weeks down the road wondering about their equipment. So I try to keep them updated. Now I'll call her or text her here in a little while, and she can come pick this up whenever she gets ready. But I think this made a pretty good job. Everything seemed to work right. Motor runs good. Recoil starter seems to act like it ought to. All the new fuel line and stuff is good. Got a new fuel filter on it now, and it never had a fuel filter on it, so that'll help out. So she should be back in good shape for a while. All right, guys. These little old weed eater videos and small engine videos, those seem to be the ones that people are watching. So hopefully this one will do pretty good. I'll get it cut down to where hopefully it's not too long for you. But this is just the basic mechanics of small engine work. So if you're watching this video trying to figure out if you can do this kind of stuff at your house or your shop, it ain't nothing to it, but you just have to you can't be scared of fixing stuff, it ain't quite right. You just gotta, and just like this recoil starter, I ordered it, it got here, the holes were the wrong size. So I don't know if most people would have just boxed it back up and said, well, that won't fit my mower, and send it back and try to get one that's got the right size hole. I'm not sure you would ever get one sent that has the hole for them spacers. I'm not sure. I hadn't bought that many recoil starters that I could see the difference in one to the other, but it's just as simple as running over to the drill press or getting you a hand drill. I think that took about a 3/8 drill bit, pop 3 holes in it, and then a 5-minute window. This is a good part, ready to move on. I hadn't shorted the customer. I hadn't done anything out of the way to make the part work. They just got a good product out of it. So you remember about when we was taking these studs out, one of them come out of the coil, which I thought was a crappy design, but it showed that we can get the coil reset and everything bolted back down and put back like it ought to be put back. So I talked about the carburetor, wishing it had studs in it instead of a bolt. That would make a ton of difference in it. But those are just things that you encounter when you fool with this kind of stuff at your house or your shop. And you don't have to have license to work on it. Most all of them are about the same. Some of them got little things about them that you might need to modify a tool or get something like that done. But most of the time, that's just a matter of grinding down a socket or getting a screwdriver a little thinner or something like that. So we're gonna call this one done. I hope as you've sat here and watched some of this that it's give you some help, some knowledge about how to handle and work on small engines and things around your house just in general. But if this video has been helpful to you at all, appreciate you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll have all of this kind of stuff as the days go on. I'm always keeping small engine stuff out here in my shop. I don't always show it because sometimes I'm fooling with other stuff. We might be at the racetrack or something, or my boys might be playing ball, so you don't get to see the day in, day out routine of me being out here. I just kind of pick out the highlights and show you some of the stuff that's I guess easy to watch, or little easy fixes that you might want to do when you're coming out of the winter time going into the spring. These little engines just need a little bit of help to get back going again, which it might be fuel lines or air filter or spark arrestor or carburetor or whatever. So they ain't really nothing to any of it, as long as you have an understanding of how they work. So if you got questions about any of it, why I done one thing or another, ask me in the comments. I'll get back with you. Other than that, just keep watching videos. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, or if you enjoy how I'm doing it or what I'm doing, tell a friend about it. If you know they like small engine stuff or racing or woodwork or any of the other stuff I fool with, share it with them or tell them about it. Tell them to look up Dixon Boy, and we'll see what else we got going on. But anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Thank y'all again for hanging around. I'll see you on the next one.